Hold up, y'all. Stop. If you are about to PCS overseas, then you definitely need to watch this video in its entirety because I'm going to break down and clarify the medical overseas process. What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to my channel. My name's Jaleesa if you're new here. And as some of you already know, my family and I are moving overseas to Italy. My husband's in the Navy, so we're going overseas as a military family. And a part of preparing and getting ready to move overseas, we were all required to do a medical overseas screening. And let me tell you, it was so confusing, y'all. I didn't know where to start. I didn't know when the process ended. I kept asking people and they kept telling me different things on how to complete this process. So I figured I would create this video to help clarify and simplify this process for any other military spouses and families who are going overseas. The first step in this process is you have to get the medical overscreening package. Duh. Now, your spouse can pick up this package at the base clinic. It consists of like 6 to 7 pages. And for the most part, they ask you just general health questions that you could expect to see if you were to go to a new doctor's office. They want to gauge if you have any significant or serious health issues that they need to be concerned about. Now, for every dependent that is in your household and connected to your spouse, they each have to fill out a medical overscreens package. So be mindful of that. You can't just fill out one and that kind of is a one for all for the entire household. No, everyone has to have their own individual package. Once you've got your medical overscreening package, the next thing you're gonna do is start reaching out to your doctor's office and requesting your medical records and your medical history. Now, if you are someone who has TRICARE Prime, this shouldn't be too difficult because most of your medical needs are probably being serviced and met at a base facility. But if you're someone who has TRICARE Select, Team TRICARE Select over here, then you're gonna have to call up all of your doctor's office. Now, if you don't know the difference between TRICARE Select and TRICARE Prime, and you're still in that decision-making process of whether you should kind of transition from either or, I've linked my video explaining TRICARE below. Definitely gonna wanna check that out. But again, if you are someone who has TRICARE Select, you're gonna wanna call up all of your doctor's office and get all of your medical records. And these medical records also have to include a complete detailed list of your shot history. So make sure you get that. If you're someone like myself who has some shots like chicken pox and measles and all those great old shots, and you're not sure when you got them or if you got them, then don't worry, because what they'll probably do is request like blood to be drawn and see what your shot, like what's in your body. And if they feel like you're missing certain shots, they'll go ahead and put in an order and you can get the shots at the base. So not a big deal. Just try to get the shot histories and records as much as you can. But general doctors gonna have to provide a medical history and record. Your dentist, your OBGYN, all of the doctors that you have seen in like the past 2 to 5 years, they're gonna wanna have those records. Now, a part of the reason why they're gonna wanna have those records and the reason why that they're even asking to do this medical overseas screening is because they want to know what's going on with you as you enter and embark into this new country. And they need to be aware so they can better serve you. And they also need to know that whether the country that they're sending you to is equipped and adequate to provide the medical needs and services that you require. Some countries that you are getting PCS to may not be able to provide certain medications or provide certain medical services, and that may disqualify you from going. So that is why they want to get an accurate understanding of what your medical history is. Now, along with collecting your medical records, you're also gonna go ahead and need to get up to date with your physicals and certain annual examinations. So if you're a woman, you will have to provide an up-to-date and recent pap smear. And if you're a woman over a certain age, you are gonna have to provide an updated mammogram. They are going to want an updated physical. And again, this applies for everyone in your household. So if you have little wee lads, little babies, they have to get an up-to-date physical as well. While you're getting your physical handled, you're scheduling your doctor's appointments, and you're on the phone checking off the list of the doctor's offices you need your medical history from, your medical records from, you are gonna want to go ahead and schedule your base dental appointment, y'all. Do not be like me. Learn from my mistake. I started the process of collecting all of my medical records, and I started getting my physicals together. And then once everything was collected, I scheduled my base dental, and it was by the grace of God that I was able to get one so soon. Apparently base dental can get really backed up with appointments, and I've heard some horror stories where people are trying to prepare to PCS soon and they can't get a dental appointment until months later. So while you're collecting your medical records and getting your physicals, go ahead and schedule your base dental appointment. Now, you may be asking yourself, Jaleesa, if I have TRICARE Select, can I just schedule a dentist appointment off base? No. It does not matter if you have TRICARE Select or if you have TRICARE Prime. They do require you to have a final dentist appointment and screening on base. So again, that's why I advocate go ahead and get it done soon. And they're gonna want everyone to have a dental screening. My little baby Parker, who's only 2, she had to get her teeth checked out. Now hers was not as in-depth as mine, but they still have to go through the process. And in that, they may actually take some dental x-rays. So again, go ahead and get on the calendar to do that as soon as possible. And I would highly recommend that whenever you are able to schedule or get on the schedule for your dentist appointment, that you have your dentist records with you, because they're gonna wanna review that and make sure everything's good to go. Once you've collected all of your medical records and you've gotten your physical, your pap smear, your mammogram, any type of just annual medical screenings that you are recommended to do, then you're going to go ahead and reach out to your base medical overseas screening office so that they can start processing your paperwork. Now, I was kind of confused by this, y'all. I just happened to stumble into that office because I was so frustrated by getting different answers of, you do this, you got to do that, you do this. It was so unclear, and I just decided one day, you know what, I'm about to pull up on these folks and just ask for some clarified help. And in doing so, they started scanning my paperwork into the computer. They helped me go through and fill out the documentation that we had to fill out in the package, as well as they were able to schedule my final overseas screening. So I would recommend, after you get all your documents, go ahead and go to your base medical records office so they can start processing your paperwork. Now, even if you don't have all your paperwork, sometimes it's just helpful to go to the office and see someone face to face and have them clearly break down what you need and when you need it. That probably would have saved me some time and energy, but again, I waited till the end of the process. So you can start early, go over to the office, and they can kind of explain things to you, anything that I'm not explaining here, or you can wait until you have everything and then go to the office. Now, your final overseas screening will happen after you have all your dental and all of your paperwork has been processed. And honestly, it's super quick. It's super easy. For myself and Parker's overseas screening, we did it over the phone, and I promise y'all, it was like less than 10 minutes. It did not take that much. And I mean, rightfully so, I guess. You know, all of the medical information was already in the system. We filled out all the paperwork, and by the grace of God, thank God, myself and Parker don't have any extreme medical histories or issues. So it was really just a formality, nothing major, nothing serious. I was on the phone with the doctor. He was able to knock out myself and Parker at the same time. And then after that, we were good to go. Now, once you have your medical screening, the people in your medical overseas screening office will give you a call and let you know once the packet is ready. You're gonna go back to the base and pick up that package, because you're gonna have to take that with you to wherever you're PCSing. Because just like they had to do like an exit screening when you left your current command, your gaining command will probably want to do a entering screening of all of your medical records. My assumption, I cannot validate this, my assumption and what I would think is the medical screening that you did to prepare for overseas, they're probably sharing that information to wherever you're going, but I can't validate that. I can't guarantee it. I know that when I did my dentist appointment, the dentist told me that there's going to be like this whole medical orientation whenever we get to Italy. So just prepare yourself that once you get overseas, they're going to do an entry medical process, and you're going to want to have all your records with you. Once I get to Italy, of course, I will share that with you all as I'm going through it. Something I did not mention, and I do think everyone needs to be aware of, is that if you do have a family member or a child that has special needs, especially if they have educational special needs, there's a separate process and paperwork that is required in order to go through this screening. I cannot break down and kind of tell you all those specific details, but I do want to give you all a FYI if that pertains to you and your family. I would highly recommend when you are starting this process to ask your medical overscreening office about what that process is and what that requirement is. So be mindful of that as you are choosing your next PCSing orders if you are going overseas, and just be mindful as you go through this process. Now, that is overall the process. Again, high level view, you're gonna get your medical overseas screening package. You're gonna start collecting your medical history. You're gonna go ahead and get up to date with your annual checkups, your physicals, your pap smears, your mammograms. You're gonna take all that information and take it back to your overseas screening office. They're gonna process that paperwork. They're gonna schedule your final screening, and then you are gonna have that final conversation with the doctor. And once it's all said and done, you're gonna pick up your paperwork and take it with you to wherever you are heading off to. And do not forget to schedule your base dental. That is required, whether you have TRICARE Prime or TRICARE Select. Now, if this video was helpful, please make sure you like it and comment below any questions you have. If you have TRICARE specific questions, or you just want to know more about military spouse life, check out my videos below and subscribe, y'all. Like I said, we're going to Italy, so I'm going to be taking you all through this process as we prepare for takeoff, as well as when we touch down, and just life abroad. So you're not going to want to miss it. So make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, I will see you in the next video below.